Guys, welcome back again. So today I'm taking you through a full movie recap, 2025 movie, Russian version Kraken. So this is the title over there, and this is how the trailer looks like. So guys, without waiting master, let's get into it.
Was terrified to find something while exploring the ocean. Something seemed to be moving on the surface of the sea. Just when the crew thought they were seeing things, a giant tentacle suddenly rose from the waves. This is the newly released 2025 film Kraken. The story begins on the endless Arctic ice field. A group of geologists is conducting an exploration mission on the ice, with a large amount of blasting equipment dropped into the sea. The data from the seabed beneath the ice is continuously transmitted back to the land, but at that very moment, the research leader Daisy suddenly receives an urgent message, ordering her to stop all work and return to camp immediately, because a blizzard is approaching. After receiving the message, Daisy immediately issues the evacuation order. However, they didn't notice a neighboring country's submarine was secretly patrolling in these neutral waters. Seeing so many civilian explosives in the ocean, the crew began complaining about the geologists, saying their constant blasting made it impossible to have peace anywhere. But before they could finish, they detected a high-intensity noise right ahead of the submarine, and what shocked them even more was that the seabed was rising on their instruments. Could it be a sea monster coming? Meanwhile, Daisy, who was packing up equipment, noticed the ice beneath her feet was trembling slightly. The monitor had already gone haywire. Before they could react, water started gushing out of the cracked ice hole. Even more terrifying, the ice layer nearby started splitting apart. The experienced Jeff immediately dropped his gear and ran back. He jumped on a snow bike, grabbed Daisy, and was ready to retreat. But the ice around them started breaking too. Without time to think, Jeff floored the throttle to escape. But the rising ice made the bike lift off. Luckily, they reacted fast. They jumped off just in time and weren't hurt. Yet when they looked back, their camp had already sunk into the sea. Those who didn't escape in time were swallowed instantly. The patrolling submarine wasn't any luckier. After a violent impact, many crew members were killed or injured. As if a powerful force was dragging the sub downward, the captain used his last bit of strength to send a distress signal to headquarters. Upon receiving it, headquarters immediately launched a rescue mission. The rescue operation was led by a man named Matt. They followed the signal from the missing submarine all the way. Meanwhile, the two survivors Daisy and Anna used a satellite phone to contact a nearby drilling platform. But due to the blizzard, the satellite signal was unstable. The platform couldn't send a rescue team. They could only tell them to find shelter and wait until the storm passed. After a long night, the two barely made it to the next day. They spotted a red light on the ice in the distance. Getting closer, they realized it was the submarine's emergency beacon. That made Anna realize, if the beacon was still transmitting, then they should stay put and wait for rescue. At the same time, the rescue submarine on its way encountered something strange. A group of whales swam around them, occasionally bumping gently into the hull. These timid creatures should have been scared of the engine noise, but in the next second the whales scattered and fled. Then the sonar operator shouted in fear. The submarine wasn't sinking, but the distance to the seabed was shrinking fast. Sensing something was wrong, Matt ordered his men to surface immediately, but the massive creature behind them had already locked on. The submarine was forced into a narrow channel. Soon a huge glacier appeared ahead. Matt quickly ordered the engine shut down. Luckily, they stopped just in time, and the creature seemed to lose its target and left. After an inspection, they found the radio system was damaged. They couldn't send any signals for now. Meanwhile, Daisy and Anna on the ice were already too cold to move. But then, the ice nearby started cracking again. They thought it was an aftershock and tried to leave, but to their surprise a submarine surfaced. Daisy thought it was there to rescue them, but it turned out their main mission was to rescue the missing sub. Still, after learning who they were, they let Daisy and Anna aboard. However, during their journey, they didn't notice a terrifying creature was crawling deep under the seabed. Not long after, the sub finally reached the drilling platform. But just as they prepared to transfer Daisy and Anna, the sea suddenly became violent. At first, everyone thought it was a storm, but as the waves approached the platform, they realized something was wrong. There were strange creatures mixed within the waves, leaving the crew stunned. The terrifying being was the legendary sea monster Kraken. With just one move of its arm, the drilling platform could be crushed instantly. In an instant, the platform was swallowed completely. Before anyone could react, the sonar operator reported the creature had turned around and was heading straight for the submarine. Matt immediately ordered them to dive, but the commander thought constantly running was cowardly. He stripped Matt of command and ordered torpedoes fired at the monster.
Наблюдаю взрыв!
Seeing the torpedo strike, the crew thought they had killed the creature, but before they could catch their breath, the radar showed it was coming back. The commander hurriedly launched 2 more torpedoes, but after the explosions, the target didn't disappear, and the submarine was attacked instead. The violent impact disabled the submarine instantly. It plunged rapidly toward the ocean floor, crashing into a cliff along the way. One cabin started leaking, but that wasn't the worst part. The monster was following right behind. The massive creature hovered above the sub, staring at the terrified crew. Matt suddenly realized something. He ordered all radar and sonar systems shut down. The moment they powered off, the monster lost its target.
Еще один удар, и нам кранты.
Turns out the creature hunts by detecting signals. The pilot restarted the engines and carefully steered the submarine through the tentacles. After hours of maneuvering, they finally escaped. Just as Matt prepared to head back, they suddenly picked up the missing sub's signal, and it was coming from directly beneath them. Though they didn't know if there were any survivors, Matt decided to go for rescue anyway. He parked the submarine above the cliff and sent a small submersible to search. After descending for hours, the submersible reached the bottom of the cliff. But what they saw was horrifying. The seabed was covered with wrecked warships, stretching as far as they could see. Fortunately, among the debris, the pilot found the missing submarine, but it was badly damaged, with a giant hole in its hull. Seeing that, everyone assumed the crew had perished. The pilot wanted to withdraw, but Matt insisted on docking. Even if no one survived, they had to recover the bodies. Under Matt's command, they docked with the wreck, but to everyone's shock,
Будем жить, ребята. Капитан 2-го ранга. Воронин. Есть. Экипаж жив.
When the accident happened, all the crew had moved to the front of the submarine, which was why they survived. Learning that they were still alive, Matt immediately began the rescue, but the submersible was small. It could only carry a few at a time. The captain told the injured to go first, and the healthy to wait for the next trip. Before leaving, the pilot installed a locator beacon for the next rescue, but as soon as it was activated, the creature sensed them again. Inside the damaged submarine, the crew had no idea the monster was coming. Though the sub was wrecked, many systems still worked. To avoid being captured by enemy forces, the captain ordered the crew to start the self-destruct. Following orders, the sailors rushed to the engine room. Meanwhile, the submersible had already turned back. Daisy, who had medical training, helped bandage the wounded, but in the middle of their work, a giant shadow appeared on the radar.
Она действительно живая.
Это существо потопило вашу подводную лодку. Это кракен.
Seeing it on the screen, everyone panicked. At the crucial moment, Matt told them to stay calm. He ordered the sub to dive into a narrow crack below. The narrow gap blocked the monster's massive body. Furious, the creature tried to drag them out with its tentacles, but they got stuck in the rock walls. Losing sight of its prey, the monster went berserk. It swam quickly toward the wrecked submarine below. Seeing the creature change targets, Matt came up with a plan. He told the crew to activate the wreck's radar and sonar at the same time as its self-destruct. The moment the radar turned on, the monster was drawn to it. After the rescue team returned, the pilot detached the dock and took everyone away as fast as possible. Right after they left, the monster wrapped its tentacles around the wrecked submarine, and the self-destruct went off. In the end, everyone waited anxiously for a miracle. Suddenly, the ocean surface erupted in waves, the submersible rose to the top, and the survivors finally began their journey home.